My name is Bella, and I'm 31 years old, and my sister Luna, who's 28, and I have always had a rocky relationship. It seems like we'll probably never see eye to eye. It baffles me why she seems to relish making my life difficult. Her latest antics, however, failed. Since our childhood, our parents have doted on her, which has always left me confused and a bit lost. Growing up, I was the sole focus of our parents' attention until Luna was born. Once she arrived, I felt pushed to the sidelines, a place I never quite managed to leave despite my best efforts. I really did try to win back their attention. I threw myself into sports and dancing, and even took part in school plays, excelling in singing and acting. But no matter what I achieved, it never seemed enough to divert their attention from Luna. In my eyes, Luna never had any standout talents that justified the immense attention she received. Perhaps one day I'll come to terms with how our parents treated us differently, but it's tough. Luna grew up overconfident and always needed to be the center of attention. She couldn't stand it if anyone else had a moment in the limelight. Every time I had good news to share, she somehow turned the situation around to focus on her, with our parents' full support. When I turned 20, the focus during my birthday party shifted abruptly when Luna, who had been drinking with friends, was the only one caught by the police after her friends managed to escape. You'd think my parents would be upset, but being the daughter of a police officer, she got off with just a light scolding from my dad and no real consequences, even though it completely ruined my celebration. The pattern continued when I landed my first job at 21. On what should have been a pivotal day for me, Luna stole the spotlight by announcing her engagement at only 19. My job achievement was overshadowed by celebrations of her engagement. That day, tensions boiled over, and I ended up having a major argument with Luna and my parents. They just couldn't see my point and labeled me as overly sensitive and dramatic. Since that day, I've cut off communication with my parents. They've tried reaching out over the years, but after nearly a decade, I haven't responded. It's clear they favor Luna much more than they do me. For her part, Luna hasn't made any attempts to reconcile either. Interestingly, she called off her engagement just a few weeks later. It seemed all she ever wanted was the attention. This long-standing family dynamic has left a deep rift between us, and I'm still figuring out how to navigate these complicated feelings of neglect and frustration. I'm relieved I've kept my distance from Luna. It's been beneficial for me. Despite our lack of communication for nearly a decade, we sometimes see each other at family gatherings. It's likely that through these brief encounters, both my parents and Luna are aware that I'm doing well. I now live in a lovely home and am constantly focused on bettering myself. I always make sure to dress well, choosing high-quality clothing. And while I don't have a family of my own and don't plan to start one soon, I've invested all my energy and resources into running my own business. This has been a dream of mine for a long time, and I'm thrilled about its progress. 3 years ago, when my business finally stabilized, I bought a new house and moved out of the apartment where I had spent many years. I explicitly told all my relatives to keep my new address confidential, especially Luna and my family. However, despite my precautions, Luna discovered where I lived. Just 7 days ago, I experienced something shocking. As I was about to leave for a party, I found the walls of my house vandalized with hateful messages spray-painted in bright red. The windows, too, were defaced with malicious graffiti. Standing there, trying to process the scene, I was utterly stunned. I contemplated calling the police, but then hesitated, suspecting that if Luna was responsible, nothing significant would be done about it. Given my father's position and past incidents, such as the negligible consequences she faced after my 23rd birthday party, I had little faith in achieving any justice. I even recognized Luna's handwriting and checked my security cameras to confirm my suspicions. Although she wore a hoodie, a brief glimpse of her face in the footage was all I needed to confirm it was indeed her. Calling the police seemed futile, knowing my father would likely intervene, and Luna would once again dodge any real consequences. This assumption wasn't just based on past personal experiences, it was also reinforced by various stories I've heard about her behavior from other relatives. This whole situation just reaffirmed my decision to maintain my distance and protect my peace, continuing to focus solely on my personal growth and achievements. It's not surprising that Luna leverages my father's connections to evade consequences. Her recent behavior stems from personal challenges. She launched a business a few years back, which unfortunately flopped spectacularly, leaving her saddled with debt. This debt wasn't just from the business, but also from obligations she carried over from her previous employment. Despite her irresponsible actions, our parents have been there to support her financially, leaving her with no need to fend for herself. Overwhelmed by her failures, she eventually resorted to alcohol and drugs. My father is well aware of Luna's dubious activities and consistently steps in to shield her from the fallout of her actions. Each time she lands in trouble, he's there to bail her out. It seems that my recent success, highlighted by my feature on the cover of a local magazine, has been difficult for Luna to accept. This coverage stirred discussions among our relatives, which probably felt like salt in her wounds, considering her lack of substantial achievements and her ongoing emotional instability. Driven by jealousy, she felt compelled to vandalize my house as a way to make a statement against the recognition I'd received. What I'm about to express may seem harsh, but much of Luna's plight is the result of her own choices. She has never been one to put in the effort or commit herself fully to any pursuit. She's grown accustomed to things simply working out for her, a mindset our parents have inadvertently encouraged. It's a natural progression to her current predicaments. When I reviewed the security footage and confirmed it was Luna, I knew involving the police would be futile. My father would protect her as always. Despite our 10-year estrangement, my father's instinct was to defend his troubled daughter, not me. After much contemplation, I decided to take a different approach. I shared the video on social media along with photos of the graffiti, which I believed Luna was responsible for. Although I couldn't take it to the police, I thought public opinion might at least shed some light on the situation. Within a few hours, the comments surged. I unblocked my family members so they too could see the posts. Luna, seeing the public reaction, messaged me, pleading to take down the post. Her outreach, after years of silence and in such a context, only highlighted the complexities and ongoing strife within our family dynamics. I firmly told Luna that I wouldn't remove the post. She has no right to dictate my actions, and if she thinks legal action is the way forward, then it's up to her to prove that she isn't the person caught on video. Should it come to that, we could end up in court. Our conversation didn't lead to any resolution, but realistically, she stands to lose more from this ordeal. While the damage to my house was an inconvenience and did require repainting, the financial burden of this was not a significant issue for me. Conversely, if Luna decides to take this matter to court, I have the resources to handle the associated costs. Luna must prove that she isn't the one in the video if she wants me to consider removing the post. However, that's an impossible task for her because it's clear that she is indeed the person captured in the footage. This realization put her in a precarious position, not just with me, but also with my father and others who have been backing her. She probably assumed that, like always, if I went to the police, my father would just make it all go away. But she misunderstood the dynamics of our situation. This time, she targeted the wrong person. After I communicated my stance, Luna didn't respond for several days. Meanwhile, the post stayed up, visible to friends, family, and even extended acquaintances. A couple of days ago, she reached out again, this time offering to cover the repainting costs and requesting a call to discuss the matter further. She urged me to delete the post, but since this wasn't about money, I dismissed her financial proposal. Instead, I insisted that she publicly acknowledge her actions and apologize. Luna then began to plead, willing to apologize privately in any form I preferred, but she refused a public apology. She argued that admitting her actions publicly would force her to take responsibility, potentially alienating the few clients she still had. It's unclear who these clients might be, considering she isn't leading any business endeavors currently. Whenever confronted about her business activities, she denies all allegations. Accepting responsibility with a public apology, she feared, would only further damage her already tenuous reputation. Despite her pleas, I remained firm. A genuine acknowledgement of her actions was crucial, not just for my peace, but as a step toward correcting the disruption she caused in my life and potentially rebuilding trust. something that a private apology alone wouldn't satisfy. However, I remained indifferent to her appeals. I clearly stated my conditions. She could either address the situation publicly or let the post remain. To me, the choice was straightforward. After I refused to negotiate, Luna continued to send messages trying to sway me, but I felt no inclination to respond. A few hours later, my father intervened by calling me. He expressed his concern that my social media post was severely harming Luna, not just personally, but also professionally. He emphasized how important her career was to her and how she couldn't afford such disruptions. Once again, I was pressured to take down the post, but I stood my ground, which only added to her predicament. Had Luna not treated me poorly from the start, I wouldn't have felt the need to expose her actions. Despite the risk to her reputation, my parents did not push her to make a public apology. Instead, they chastised me over the phone, accusing me of being arrogant and thinking I could act without facing consequences. As our conversation was about to end, my mother, in tears, expressed her disappointment. She lamented that she never expected such behavior from me. She acknowledged that Luna and I had been treated differently since we were children, but criticized me for not responding to their attempts to reconnect over the last 10 years. She argued that it was unfair for them to be painted as villains now. They insisted they had changed significantly over the years. By refusing to delete the post, I had inadvertently tarnished my father's reputation as well, escalating the tension and discord within our family. This situation revealed deeper family rifts, highlighting unresolved issues and the complex dynamics of change and accountability. In my decision to maintain the post, I hadn't given my father the opportunity to demonstrate any real changes in his behavior or their parenting approach. The ongoing fallout from this choice continued to strain our familial relationships, making it clear that resolving these issues would require more than just a simple deletion of a social media post. I find myself in a complex emotional state over this whole ordeal, feeling conflicted yet resolute about how to handle the ongoing issues, particularly with my parents. Despite the damage to my father's reputation, I remain firm in my decision not to delete the post about Luna. Had my father taken serious actions, perhaps he could have prevented the fallout for her. The fact that the post negatively impacted her reputation was intentional and exactly the result I aimed for. I have no regrets about my decision not to involve the police, given my confidence in what I believe about Luna's involvement in illegal activities, including drug use. While I might not know all the specifics, it's clear her actions extend beyond mere drug use to other illicit dealings. Moreover, my father's role in covering up her actions while maintaining a facade of integrity as a police officer only deepens my resolve. There is simply no compelling reason for me to take down the post just to protect her image. My parents have tried reaching out multiple times, likely with genuine intent, but I have steadfastly ignored these overtures. Reading through the comments on my post reinforced my belief that there is no need for deletion. The criticism facing my family is a direct result of their own choices and behaviors. As for the vandalism, the repainting of my house is complete and the graffiti is gone. I've resolved to not wait for repayment from my parents or sister for the damages, accepting this loss as part of the broader conflict. My response has been to continue ignoring the flurry of messages from Luna, and I see no reason to change this approach. What I really seek is a genuine, public apology from her, an acknowledgement of her actions that goes beyond private admissions or quiet conversations. Only then might there be a path to reconciliation, but until that occurs, my stance remains unchanged. The post will stay online, serving as a testament to the truth as I see it and a marker of my boundaries that I refuse to let be crossed again. Until I receive a proper apology from Luna via email, I have no plans to delete the post. The issue here isn't just about an apology, it's about acknowledgement, and so far, the post has become well known among our circle. Many of our relatives, upon seeing the post, have chosen to distance themselves from Luna and my parents. No one even tries to communicate with them anymore. Most of the people we interact with have informed me that Luna hasn't shown any willingness to meet my demands, which further validates and supports my stance. What I ask for seems reasonable to me, yet they treat it as if I'm making outrageous demands on the entire world. Their persistent avoidance and dismissal of my feelings have become a pattern I've grown to expect over the years. The choice I made 10 years ago to distance myself from them has proven to be wise. They don't deserve a place in my life. Today, my parents attempted to visit me, but they didn't come alone. They brought our family lawyer and my uncle with them. Despite their show of force, I remained firm and did not remove the post. During their visit, my uncle even threatened legal action, showing me documents Luna had prepared to underline their seriousness about resolving the issue through legal means if necessary. However, neither the legal documents nor the presence of their lawyer intimidated me. When I invited Luna to join the discussion and see if we could resolve the issue face-to-face, my family sat silently, not making any moves to genuinely engage in dialogue. They insisted that deleting the post would prevent a potentially massive lawsuit and urged me to consider it seriously. When I didn't respond, my father, clearly frustrated, angrily pounded his fist on my coffee table, which was both upsetting and disrespectful. The table was not only expensive, but also special to me. When Luna finally arrived, she too tried to persuade me to forget the past, arguing it would save both of us a lot of trouble. However, I refused to back down. There was no compelling reason for me to forgive and forget. The continual lack of genuine acknowledgement or accountability on their part only reaffirmed my decision to keep the post up. It serves as a reminder of the unresolved issues and the need for a serious, honest confrontation about past hurts and ongoing conflicts within our family. I reached a point where I could no longer tolerate the situation. I made it clear to them that I was not open to negotiation. Frankly, I doubted their willingness to actually follow through with a lawsuit, knowing that it could expose them to even greater troubles. Despite my uncle's background as a trained police officer, his attempts to restrain Luna were futile as she angrily tried to punch a hole in my wall, an action that was not only alarming but also deeply upsetting. Following this aggressive act, Luna's next move only escalated my frustration. She pulled out a large sum of cash, threw it on my coffee table, and coldly offered more if needed before storming out. This display was not just shockingly unpleasant, but also incredibly disrespectful. In response to these events, I've decided to take the matter online to expose their behavior publicly and am seriously considering filing a restraining order against my family. Given the day's events, I feel justified in believing that legal intervention is necessary and could be beneficial. It is crucial to bring to light the hidden truths about my family. This incident underscores the deplorable nature of the individuals I'm dealing with. They truly represent the worst. Their actions have strengthened my resolve to confront them legally. I hope this narrative helps others see the malevolence of these individuals. I was taken aback by Luna's brazen behavior, which might stem from jealousy of the significantly better and more successful life I lead. As a successful businessperson, my life contrasts sharply with hers. She has been involved in illegal activities like drug dealing and lives a lifestyle marked by frivolous partying every weekend, which pales in comparison to my more fulfilling life. Not everyone looks up to her the way some do to me. When I met my parents again after the courtroom hearing, they tried to present a friendly facade, but the undercurrents of unresolved issues and their previous actions made any genuine reconciliation difficult. This complex dynamic has set the stage for further legal and personal battles, ones that I am now fully prepared to engage in to protect my interests and expose the truth. I found it hard to believe that a quick reconciliation was possible, especially after my father shockingly revealed to my sister that he intended to cut her out of his life. True reconciliation seemed far-fetched, and I felt vindicated in my decision to not give my parents another chance, trusting my gut that they were indeed unworthy of respect. As the court proceedings unfolded, I hoped for a verdict that would not favor them, and everything seemed to be leaning in that direction. I felt confident in handling the situation and was ready to confront all the issues that had surfaced. Experiencing this legal battle brought a sense of relief that necessary resolutions were being achieved. Throughout this ordeal, I have come to fully realize the extent of anger and frustration caused by my family's negative influence. While I'm not entirely sure if my approach was the most effective, confronting my emotions directly has been a validating process, and I take pride in facing these challenges head-on. The legal proceedings concluded much quicker than expected, thanks in part to surveillance footage and numerous testimonies shared via social media. My sister's illegal activities were systematically exposed. She was found guilty of vandalism and long-standing drug dealing, ultimately receiving a 5-year prison sentence. The involvement of my father in covering up misconduct within the police force came to light as well, resulting in his job loss. Meanwhile, my mother began receiving mental health support, and her condition has been gradually improving. The content I posted online received an overwhelmingly positive response, garnering support as it highlighted the abuse of power and corruption. The unexpected support reinforced my decision to bring the truth to light, confirming that it was the right move. Even now, as I continue to focus on managing my company, which is thriving, I feel a strong sense of accomplishment in addressing the issues caused by my family. Although my relationship with my sister and parents is far from reconciled, facing these challenges has given me a sense of closure and achievement. The process has been tough but ultimately rewarding, as it has allowed me to stand up against wrongdoing and advocate for justice. This journey has not only strengthened my resolve but also helped me grow both personally and professionally.